Are you ready to transform your pool into a stunning oasis? At Mainland Pool Service, they're a family-owned business committed to keeping your pool looking pristine all year round. They believe that pool care should be proactive, not reactive, which is why their skilled team handles everything from routine cleaning to complex issues with precision. They prioritize clear communication and personalized solutions to exceed your expectations. Join the Mainland Pool Service family today and experience the difference their expertise and dedication can bring to your relaxation retreat. Contact them now at mainlandpoolservice.com.
The Grizzlies are proud to team up with Prime Global Group, a company on a mission to redefine real estate investment. By leveraging deep experience, strategic insight, and robust resources, Prime Global Group is shaping a smarter, socially responsible future. Whether you're an investor or simply curious, now's the time to explore innovative strategies that align with your values. Join the movement and discover how you can be a part of this exciting evolution. Visit primeglobalgroup.net to learn more and connect with the team today. That's primeglobalgroup.net.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Watching the Grizzlies is easy with FanDuel Sports Network. If you have cable or satellite, you're all set. Find us on your channel lineup. You can also use your TV provider login to watch games on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable or satellite? Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network online. You can also watch on Prime Video by adding a FanDuel Sports Network subscription. Not sure where to start? Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com to learn more.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Ben Doyle back in Memphis producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you had an opportunity to settle in for last night's college football national championship game because it was an instant classic. Congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers. Traditionally, one of the worst, if not the worst, power conference football programs is now the first 16-0 national champion in modern history. Curt Cignetti. Oh, buddy, he's just as good as he told us he was. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. When we finish this open, we're going to take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we'll discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, there are no notable / reputable developments on the Ja Morant front, far as I know. The Grizzlies will be back inside FedEx Forum tomorrow night. Hawks going to be in town. We'll talk Grizz in about, 25 minutes. Rough scene last night inside San Francisco's Chase Center. Warrior star Jimmy Butler suffered a torn ACL. He is done for the season. We'll get into that in just a bit. The Tennessee Titans are reportedly finalizing a deal to make Robert Saleh their next head coach. I'm going to get Bennett's thoughts on that a little later on in the show. Kansas basketball coach Bill Self was hospitalized yesterday and did not travel with his team to Colorado for tonight's game against the Buffaloes. This is the 3rd health scare for Bill in recent years. I'll tell you more about that in the second segment. And Brooklyn Beckham, the son of David and Victoria Beckham, took to social media to explain why he no longer has a relationship with his very famous parents. The story is weird and kind of sad. I'm going to get Bennett to give us the highlights during a segment we call 5 more things you need to know. Then we will eventually do GP's carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with college football because last night the national championship game was played at Hard Rock Stadium. Instant classic, Miami Gardens. Final score, Indiana 27, Miami 21. Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza. He got a 12-yard touchdown run on a 4th and 4 play with 5:39 left in the fourth. Made it 24-14, and that seemed to do it. I thought that was it, but not so fast because Malachi Tony scored for Miami just a little while later to cut it to 24-21. Then Indiana kicked a field goal with 1:42 left to push it back up to 27-21, which gave the ball back to Miami with 1:42 left. Carson Beck got the ball. It's a one-possession game. Let's go. They get it on the Indiana side of the football field, and Kyra, let's watch it together how Miami's dreams, they were crushed.
Brown is the back. Beck steps up, delivers downfield.
Oh, no.
Jamari Sharp makes the pick that will clinch Indiana's first national championship. He spotted the football.
Yeah, I think he might see middle field safety thinking he's got one-on-one right here. So as he throws it, the safety's going to work over here to help out. Now it's a 2-on-1. The corner knows he has help so he can trail. Doesn't feel the urgency to have to stay upfield with Marion. He knows the safety's coming over. Now he locates the football, staying in zone. Indiana's been doing this all year. That's why they're number one in turnovers.
If you don't talk football like Kirk Herbstreit, what he was trying to say there is Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner and likely number one pick in the next NFL draft. Bennett, let's make sure I got this right. He threw it to the wrong place. It felt like Carson Beck threw the ball to the wrong place. That's what Herbstreit was trying to say, right?
Yeah, I believe so, accurately.
He threw it to a place you're not supposed to throw it. So Fernando Mendoza and the Hoosiers, they are your national champions. Carson Beck and your Hurricanes, they are your runners-up. Instant classic, though. I imagine you had your eyes on it. Bennett, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was a great game. We talked about it. Like, it was kind of exciting coming into yesterday just because I'd kind of, over the past couple of years just, always assumed it was going to be the same teams getting here. And so it was two different teams, which was refreshing. The Indiana story is really cool. And obviously we had a little rooting interest with the Hurricanes, and they did take care of business in that aspect. So good for them.
Yeah, I told you one of my producers at CBS Sports Network, Amy, is a Miami grad. She lives here, but flew down for the game and was there. And I was texting with her. She was with a bunch of friends, and I was texting with her last night, like, hey, whatever happens at this point forward, like when Miami gets the ball, less than 2 to go, with a chance to march down the field and win it in their home stadium, a national championship. Like, if you're a Miami alum, a Miami fan, like this is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And so I was texting with Amy. I was like, hey, no matter what happens at this point forward, man, you got this moment. Like you're living in this moment right now. Like, amazing, right? And then I texted her back. I was like, I'm sorry it had to end like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it had to end like that. But she was, I'm certain, I didn't ask her to take a selfie and confirm any tears, but I'm certain she had tears in her eyes because that's the type of thing that happens to diehard fans when you get so close to the finish line. Even a Bella Danger was crying in the crowd. She got emotional. The ESPN cameras, oh man, you think they knew what they were doing, Bennett? Do you think they knew what they were doing? That cameraman was getting slick, wasn't he?
He knew exactly what he was doing.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
She's been at all these games. Maybe he just thought she was a famous Miami fan. I mean, she is that, I guess.
She is a famous Miami fan.
She is a famous Miami fan, yes.
That is definitely one way to describe a Bella Danger, is she is a diehard Miami fan.
Yep.
That's one way to describe her. That's true. Like if somebody said, who is a Bella Danger? And you said, I think she's a diehard Miami fan. That's a correct answer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a correct answer. And that young woman, she was brought to tears last night. Publicly brought to tears. I didn't think you could bring.
Okay, well, I had to be careful Googling her on this computer. You can't do that.
I didn't think you could bring a Bella Danger to tears. Have you seen some of the things I've seen that woman go through? I didn't think you could bring her to tears. And then there's that slick cameraman last night. Boom, a Bella Danger in tears. What? You broke that woman's heart? I seen I didn't think you could get to her like that.
I hope that if I get a talking to today, I just want it to be known right now. I was looking for the video of her at the national championship game last night. That's why I typed her name in. I just want that to be made clear on camera in front of the world.
There ain't no telling what kind of video you can run into. You start typing them names right next to each other.
Yeah.
You can type a Bella and you can type a Danger, but buddy, if you put them words right next to each other in a Google search, woo! It's going to get wild. Anyway, That young woman brought the tears. That's how much it hurts. If anybody ever asks, how much does it hurt to get so close to a national championship game and then fall just short because of a Carson Beck interception? The answer is, it hurts so bad it could make a Bella Danger cry. And I don't know how much. I seen that woman. My God, buddy, I didn't think she could cry. I thought she was above pain, but apparently not. She was left in tears last night. So were a lot of Hurricane fans. Indiana, your first 16-0 national champion in modern college football history. Curt Cignetti, 2 years after getting the job, really is a national champion. I mean, it is the wildest story. I said on the Iron College Basketball Podcast on Sunday night, I think if Indiana wins it, it probably goes down as the greatest story in the history of college football. But I'm not a college football historian, so I'll let other people chime in on that. But it really does feel like that's where we're at. That what we just watched last night was the completion of the wildest, unimaginable college football story in history. Indiana football, there's a lot of data to support the idea that before Curt Cignetti took that job 2 years ago, that was the worst power conference football program in the country. He took the worst job in arguably the best league and more or less said, I'm going to win here. Google me, that's what I do. And 2 years later, he is a 16-0 national champion. And there is no lucking into this thing, obviously, but look at who they knocked off on the way to get here. You know, undefeated Big Ten champs, knock it off powers, elite programs in the college football playoff. And though they had to hold on last night, they also had a 10-point lead with, less than 6 to play. And had to hold on, but they were mostly in control of that game for most of the night. So it's an incredible story. And I did a radio hit earlier today in Kansas City. I go on there every Tuesday to talk about Kansas basketball and Kansas State and PJ Haggerty and whatever else. And I was asked by the host, Ren Petro, so what's your big takeaway from last night? We watched Indiana win the national championship. What does it say about anything? And I think the main takeaway, and I can localize this a little bit, is that it is proof, evidence that in this era of college athletics, you can build something special almost anywhere as long as you are in a power conference. It is becoming more difficult than ever to build anything sustainable outside of the power conferences. We're learning that at Memphis right now. But inside the power conferences, if you've got the right people and the right resources, you can build something special anywhere, even in the sport of football, even at a place like Indiana. And I want to be clear, and just in case it's not, this has not always been true. I know there's always been cheating, and we know the stories. But in theory, the way the rules were written, it was like Ole Miss and Mississippi State have nothing more to offer a football prospect than Alabama and LSU. You can offer a scholarship. You can offer a cost of attendance stipend. But if we're all playing by the rules, that's where it stops. So if a kid's got a Ole Miss offer and an Alabama offer, unless he just is after immediate playing time or quicker playing time, why would you go to Ole Miss over Alabama if you're a football player? And your options are, playing for Nick Saban for a scholarship or playing for whoever happened to be the Ole Miss coach at the time for a scholarship, right? And that's how Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State rack up this number 1 and 2 and 3 recruiting classes every year, and all the best players go to all the same schools. And we look up Bennett every year, and it feels like we're watching Alabama and Clemson play for the national championship. In this era of the sport, there might actually be a reason for you to pick an Ole Miss or a Mississippi State over an Alabama, or in this case, an Indiana over an Ohio State. And it could just come down to money. Like at Alabama, they might offer you $1.4 million to play football for them, but at Ole Miss, they could offer 1.8.
Yep.
And now you're going to Ole Miss, and this talent is being spread out. And if you've got the right resources and the right people, you can build it anywhere. Indiana football is your undefeated national champion, and Nebraska basketball is undefeated and ranked in the top 10 right now. Both of those programs are historically bad programs relative to other power conference programs in those particular sports. But what did they do? Hired the right people, gave them the right resources, and now they've pushed it through. And to circle this back, to localize it a little bit, it is why the number one challenge facing the University of Memphis Athletic Department is getting into a better conference. We're not going to do another 10 minutes on this, I promise, but you cannot build sustainable things outside of the power conference level anymore. The other day on Inside College Basketball on CBS, Wally Zerbiak, I believe, said, or rather it was Robbie Hummel, said that if he were giving out Coach of the Year in men's basketball right now, he would give it to Travis Steele at Miami, Ohio. Not necessarily because Travis has the best team. He doesn't, though they are ranked now. But because how do you build a team and maintain a team at the outside of the power conference level in this era of the sport that can start a season this way and still be sitting on January 20th with a 0 in the loss column? Like, I understand how you can build that at Duke because you can build anything at Duke. I understand how you could theoretically build that at Kentucky because you could theoretically build anything at Kentucky. At the power conference level, if you got the right people and the right resources, you can build anything anywhere. But at the mid-major level, outside of the power conferences, very, very difficult. That's why what Miami, Ohio is doing right now is one of the nicer stories in the sport. Well, right now, as it pertains to conference affiliation, unfortunately, Memphis is in a situation closer to Miami, Ohio's than say, Kentucky's and Kansas's. And that's why you just got to keep your fingers crossed and stay ready that if something opens up with the ACC, you are able to take this athletic department and latch it on to some more comparable athletic departments. Like, maybe you don't end up in a conference with North Carolina and Virginia because those schools pop into the Big Ten or the SEC, but you do end up in a conference with Louisville. You do end up in a conference with Virginia Tech. You do end up in a conference with Georgia Tech. Some schools that you have some history with, some schools that have basketball programs and aspire to the same things your basketball program aspires to. In the American right now, Memphis doesn't have many other athletic departments that aspire to the things that the Memphis Athletic Department aspires to. South Florida, perhaps, but the list is short. And that's why, yes, you can still have great things at the University of Memphis in football and men's basketball, but it is going to be very difficult to maintain them in this version of this league. You don't have to get in the Big Ten or the SEC, but you do got to get into a better league because maintaining success outside of the power structure more difficult than it's ever been right now. But building something special inside of the traditional power structure, it's possible. And that is I think, going to be the lasting legacy of Curt Cignetti. You know, who knows how long he's going to do this and if he'll pursue NFL opportunities someday. He has suggested that's not really in his interest. He said earlier in the week that he's a college football coach, not a professional football coach. But that doesn't mean somebody's not going to try to make him a professional football coach at some point, because when you do what he just did, again, unimaginable. You could, like, reasonably call it the greatest, quickest, biggest turnaround in the history of college athletics. If you start talking about people who took something and made it into something great in college athletics history, you get a list that includes John Calipari at UMass, Scott Drew at Baylor. But I really do think right at the top of it now, it's Curt Cignetti at Indiana. Bennett, this would be like if somebody took, again, whatever you perceive to be the worst job in, say, the SEC. I only bring that league up because it's one we're more familiar with. But rank all the football jobs in the SEC. Tell me which one you've got last. It's a 62-year-old man taking that job and 2 years later being undefeated national championship. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, and I totally get, like, just from hearing him over the past couple of weeks, he's like the most locked-in football coach you'll ever see. Like, usually like at the halftime interviews before they walk off the field, they'll get a question from Molly, and it'll usually just be, defense got to play better, quarterback's got to quit turning over the ball, blah, 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 blah. And he's sitting there with her at halftime, like breaking down every individual aspect of the game, like what they need to do better. And I'm just like, oh, this dude is like, it's always on his mind. Like the next play, everything, it's always on his brain. Just listening to him talk about it.
Like, did you see even his post-game interview? And he's explaining the decision to go for it on 4th and 4.
It's like he's still coaching.
Yes, it was brilliant and real insight into the way he thinks and his attention to detail. Like, it was like quite literally we saw something, we recognized it, we recognized this would work. We were gambling a little bit that they're going to try to cover it this way, but we gambled and we were right. And then Mendoza takes out a linebacker, and it was just that's a legendary play. Like, that's an all-time. You will watch that. You'll see that highlight just pop up in various places for the rest of your life. And just Cignetti breaking down not just the play, how it unfolded, but the thought process into getting into it and why they did it and why they believed it would work. I just thought was like brilliant football stuff. And yeah, just out of curiosity to see, am I the only one thinking this? I was certain I wasn't, but I was like, am I I'm going to do a Twitter search real quick. I'm going to type in the word. I typed in 2 words, Bennett, just to see what kind of pops I might get back. What 2 words do you think I popped in just to see what I would give you a hint. One of them is Cignetti. I wanted to get a Cignetti in there, and then I wanted to put one other word in there just to see if this would come hit. I typed in Cignetti and autistic just to see how many people were tweeting, and it was just all over the place. People were like, "Oh, buddy, he's so on the spectrum," and like we see so often, like these brilliant humans, they are often there's a little. There's a little something different about them, like in the way that they think. I'm trying to think of the bestest, gentlest way to say this, because it's not a criticism. It's like, wow, this is amazing. But like his mind is not like your mind, perhaps, right? He's just he's a different dude. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say.
He definitely is. I'll be interested too to see. You were just talking about like if he ends up staying there, or like what ends up. I did see that Fernando's brother transferred this morning.
Yeah.
That was something that made the rounds, or he's entered the transfer portal.
Yeah, because they had just gone out and gotten a transfer portal quarterback from somewhere else, and the writing was on the wall. It's probably cool to back up your brother,
right?
But
you want to be in the same spot.
At some point, let's go play football.
Yeah. Now all the Raiders people were there last night, which that's obviously they have the number 1 pick, and that's a high level game with a bunch of first round draft picks on the field, right? So whatever. But we assume Fernando's going to go to the Raiders. They don't have a coach. Like, I don't know. Do you want to try to bring the guy with the quarterback? I mean, if he's such a, unique football mind, think outside the box. I think, and they've got Brady. Like, Brady's like front and center of this thing now with the Raiders. Like, he was wearing Raiders gear last night. Yeah. So he's a part of it.
I will say, Curt Cignetti just says, I'm not interested. Then you just move on. But absolutely, I would want to have that conversation. I would just want to have that conversation, even if I didn't need to hire a coach right now. I was just like, if I ran a football franchise, I want to sit down with that guy and be like, talk to me about how you do what you do.
Yeah.
Tell me about your day. Can I just come spend a week with you? I just want to walk around. I would just want to watch you work. Like, if I were a young football coach, I would be trying to get in that building one way or another. Just to, hey, man, I won't say a word while I'm here. Let me be around this. There is something different happening there. And I don't know what it is exactly, and I don't know that you can explain it exactly, but can I just come hang out and see it? I would want to do that regardless. Clearly there is something special happening with this guy. Clearly he is different on a level that most of us couldn't even imagine. And so independent of everything else, I want to learn more about that if I'm in the business of football. But absolutely, if I've got an NFL franchise and we need a coach and we're about to draft a quarterback and it's probably going to be his quarterback, I'm going to want to talk to Cignetti anyway, if for nothing else, just about Mendoza. But why I have him with me, I'm going to say, hey, let's talk about you. Would you have any interest in this? Because we don't know which direction we're going right now. But, I mean, you just did something amazing, and I think I'd be crazy to be sitting right in front of you and not at least ask you, would this be something you'd be interested in talking about? I mean, yeah, absolutely, I would do that. And yeah, it was hard not to notice Tom Brady was all over the field last night. In fairness, I think he lives down there, so like it's just like, you know, pop in a car and drive over to the stadium. But he was very visible, and yeah, just an awesome night of college football. The game was tremendous. The story is an all-timer. The Mendoza run, a highlight forever. Just a fun Monday night of football. And so now we'll just talk about transfer portal stuff for the next few months and get ready for some spring stuff, I guess. But the college football season.
Tigers on the clock. Tigers are on the clock, GP.
Oh, buddy.
We're up next.
I hope so. I hope so. When we come back, turn our attention back to the Grizzlies, set to come back home tomorrow night. The Hawks will be in town. No new notable or reputable developments on the Ja Morant front, but I was reading a piece from Chris Harrington over at the Daily Memphian after we finished the show yesterday, and it was interesting, his thoughts on where this thing might be headed next. I'll share them with you next. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
The Grizzlies are the one thing everyone in the family can agree on. So join us every Sunday this season for Sunday Family Fun Days. It's a steal at just $35 and includes a ticket to the game, a $10 food voucher, post-game free throws on the court, and a meet and greet with mascot Grizz. Space is limited, so grab your tickets now for this unique experience your family won't soon forget. Go to grizzlies.com/Sunday and have a fun day. How would you describe your rookie season so far?
Growth. The best way to grow is to be thrown in the fire, and I think coaches and all of my coaches have done a good job with that, because I remember having a conversation with him. He was like, the fastest way and the best way you're going to learn is if I throw you in the deep end and you try to keep your head above water.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans. Want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now, I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
The Grizzlies are scheduled to be back inside FedEx Forum tomorrow night after returning from Europe. A game in Berlin. You probably heard about that. They played a game in London. I know you heard about that. Next will be inside FedEx Forum tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. The Atlanta Hawks will be in town. There is no reputable or notable updates on the Ja Morant situation on the trade front. Is there, Bennett? Have I missed anything, or we're still sitting pretty much about where we were sitting this time yesterday?
I believe you are correct. There is no new information out there.
Okay. So when I left the studio yesterday, I drove to Memphis International, and then I got on a plane and I started catching up on some reading, and I dove into a column from Chris Harrington. Just it was more or less about all things Grizzlies and Ja Morant after his return to the court on Sunday, and that impressive performance that was followed by him making it pretty clear he does not want to be traded. If it's up to him, he wants to remain a member of the Memphis Grizzlies. So Harrington's writing about all of that, and at one point in the column, this is where he lands. It's sort of talking about everything that happened on Sunday. Harrington writes, quote, "It was a nice thing that probably left Grizzlies fans wondering why they couldn't have had it more frequently the past couple of seasons, and surely left some pondering why they likely can't have it going forward." What that suggests is that Chris Harrington doesn't think it is likely that Ja Morant is going to move forward in a Grizzlies uniform. But when asked, more specifically on social media by a Twitter user, Harrington responded with, quote, "Spoiler alert, as the column suggests, I highly suspect Morant will be traded." I'm not here to question the reporting / speculation. Chris Harrington is very plugged in, but does that surprise you, Bennett, to hear somebody very plugged into the Grizzlies in this moment after Sunday say they still believe it is, quote, highly likely that Ja Morant gets traded? Or at least I want to quote Chris Harrington accurately. He said, "I highly suspect Morant will be traded."
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's disappointing, but it's not surprising, really, because I don't like. Obviously, Sunday was awesome, but you're not operating based on like a game-to-game basis, right? Like that's not really how this works. Just because Sunday was awesome doesn't mean it like changed everybody's minds on everything, right?
I gotcha, but it did change things. What happened Sunday did change things. I
completely agree.
It just did. I mean, it just did. It changed things. It changed what the reaction will be if you move on Ja Morant right now. Now, I want to be clear. If you run a front office, sometimes what people will tell you is that you've got to block out that noise and you've got to make the best basketball decisions for the franchise with little or no regard for outside stuff, right? You hear that all the time. And I think that is possibly usually true. But it is not always true that you should block out the so-called noise. And the place where they learned this the most dramatically over the past year plus is in Dallas. The issue in Dallas was trading Luka Doncic, period. That was a mistake. That was stupid, short-sighted, dumb, all of those things. But the one thing I thought Nico Harrison said that was interesting, maddening, but interesting after the fact, after the votes were in and it was clear this was not only a stupid trade, it was a wildly unpopular trade. Nico Harrison said, "I didn't properly understand what the reaction would be to the trade. I knew Luka mattered. I didn't know he mattered like this." And I missed that. I had a blind spot for that. And if I were in the Grizzlies front office right now, I would want to remind myself of that a little bit, that this stuff is not going to happen in a vacuum. There will be a big reaction in this city to any move involving Ja Morant. And whatever the reaction would have been before Sunday, that was a reaction I think you could manage, because it's very easy at that point to say, listen, we all wanted this thing to be in Ja Morant's hands forever. That was always the plan. But unfortunately, he hasn't been available consistently. we had to suspend them earlier this year for a game. You guys have eyeballs. He everything he's doing, the way he's acting, again, this is before Sunday, he doesn't want to be here. He's making life miserable for everybody. He's sucking the energy out of everything. You can't properly plan or build anything when you don't know if a $40 million player is ever going to be healthy or happy. So it stinks that we got to this point, but it was time to move on. To be clear, you do that on Friday. You've still got some people who are very upset about it, but that's an easy story to tell. Guys, he never plays. He's not happy. He doesn't want to be here. He's sucking the energy out of everything. He's sulking in a press conference. He's arguing with Vince in front of cameras. What do you want us to do? That's an easy. Not everybody would agree with you, but that's an easy one to sell. But what happened Sunday changed that story. You can't say he's never healthy. He just played. You can't say he's, are we still sure he's good? He was awesome. You can't say he wasn't happy because he looked happy. And then you can't say he doesn't want to be here because he literally said, yes, I do. Yes, I do. So now he's in control of the story. You trade him now when these fans start screaming. How could you trade Ja Morant, the Ja Morant we just saw on Sunday who said he wanted to be here? How could you trade him? You can't say, guys, he didn't want to be here because they're just going to yell, yes, he did. Yes, he did. Mm-hmm. And it won't matter if somebody in the front office says, okay, he said on Sunday after a great game he wanted to be here. You should have heard what he said 2 days earlier. You should have heard what he told us 6 days earlier. You should have heard the way he was acting 1 week earlier. All right? But that story won't fly anymore. We have video evidence of Ja Morant saying, don't trade me. That's that complicates the whole thing. And obviously, these decisions are made way above our heads, and we will talk about them one way or another when they go down one way or another. But I do think it's important to understand that the reaction after Sunday is different. You're dealing with a different set of circumstances right now than you were before Sunday. Divorcing right now, to continue with the analogy we've been using, would be like divorcing after the most amazing date you've ever had. You thought you were getting ready to break up, but you decided to have one more night together, and it was like a perfect night. I mean, buddy, dinner was great, and everything that happened after dinner was amazing. And man, and then you woke up the next day, and you're like, Jesus Christ, that was the best day we've ever had together. That we're still going to the divorce attorney's office today. We're still you can do it, and if you do it, I will understand all of the reasons you will have done it. One day does not overshadow a series of bad ones, but one day can change the freshest feelings, and that's what happened on Sunday. And divorcing after a wonderful Sunday together. Particularly when the guy everybody assumes wanted to get out of here for one reason or another, when he sat there on Sunday afternoon and said, no, I don't want to get out of here. This is where I want to be. I'm loyal. I've got the logo on my back. You have a hard time. We can see where this thing goes from here. There's a chance he, pulls a hamstring and against Atlanta and then, cusses everybody out post game. then we can have another conversation. All right. You never know. But the most recent thing we saw was like the best thing we've seen, and the only thing anybody's ever wanted to see. And it becomes a harder sell now than it would otherwise have been. And that's why I was, again, not questioning the reporting or the speculation, but I was a little surprised to see that Chris Harrington still believes it is likely that Ja Morant gets traded. I just thought it was interesting. I picked up on it.
I thought it was interesting too. And it definitely took a little wind out of the sail when I saw that, for sure. Just because, again, I was riding the high of Sunday. I think a lot of people are. So we'll see. It'll be super interesting to see. I guess we'll get like an injury report later this afternoon for the game tomorrow. And you got 3 home games this week, and they're all pretty close together. So it's going to be interesting just to see how it plays out today. Like, does he play all three? Does he play any of them? Does he play tomorrow? Like, a lot of questions that we'll probably get some answers to this week.
TBD.
Yeah.
TBD on everything you just said.
Yeah.
But tip-off tomorrow night, 7 o'clock inside FedEx Forum. It will be the most interesting.
Number 2.
Oh, Jimmy Butler went down last night. 135-112 victory over the Heat. So that's good for the Warriors, but bad for the Warriors. Torn ACL, done for the season. Just sort of reminds you, like, we get so caught up in our own stuff that it's like, man, nothing ever goes right here. But, things go wrong basically everywhere, and they're going through it in San Francisco a little bit too. They've got a Jonathan Kuminga problem, and now they've got a the only reason you go out and get Jimmy Butler is to try to maximize the final years of Steph Curry's career. And this is evidence that it's not going to work out the way they wanted it to work out. He will not be available for the playoffs. And now you see if that motivates Golden State to try to do something at the trade deadline. If it's just like Steph says, get me somebody to run with and at least give us a shot at this thing. But it's hard to imagine them, particularly when their own coach says it, doing anything to get into a position where they're chasing or really seriously competing with Oklahoma City or San Antonio at the top of the West. So we could be done watching Steph Curry not win championships, but even compete for them, because even Steve Kerr has suggested they don't think they're in the business of pushing all the chips in to try to do whatever they can do to get the 5th best team in the West, because what's the point of being the 5th best team in the West if you're nowhere close to the 1st or the 2nd? So, we got our own injury problems here. We're not going to feel sorry for anybody else, but, that's one of the biggest franchises in the NBA, one of the most famous players in the NBA, and now he will be sidelined for the rest of the season. Jimmy Butler, torn ACL.
Number 3.
Big Ben Bennett, do you have your new football coach over in Nashville?
We do, yes. Robert Saleh is going to. Is that how you say it? Saleh?
I think it's Robert Saleh. Yeah,
Saleh,
he was former head coach of the Jets. So he used to, he used to be up here with me, but now it looks like he is going to be the next head coach of the Titans after being the 49ers defensive coordinator.
Love the hire. Roser's been out here pumping me up about it because he's obviously very familiar with him from his San Francisco days. Of the 3 guys that it looked like they had kind of narrowed it down, that it was going to be between Matt Nagy, Chiefs offensive coordinator, former Bears head coach, Mike McCarthy, and Robert Saleh. And he was by far my choice out of the 3. Like, when we knew it was going to be down between those 3, that was the guy that I wanted, just because I do not put any stock in what happened with the Jets. I just don't. I think that the Jets are not a well-run organization, and so I think many coaches are going to fail there just because they always do, right? And
no, I think that's a totally reasonable thing on Robert Saleh. Like, I can't speak to, how great he is or isn't, but I think there's a long track record of just because you can't win with that franchise doesn't mean you can't do good things somewhere else. It's more like if you could win with that franchise, you might be the greatest coach in the world, but great coaches can lose with that franchise. And if you're the Titans, that's what you're betting on Robert Saleh, that what happened in New York has more to do with the state of the franchise than it has to do with his ability to run a franchise.
And you know what didn't happen when he was in New York? They didn't have a bad defense. Their defense was actually good because he's a great defensive mind. Like, Roser sent me this. This is why I'm stoked. Okay, this is the past. Yeah, so 2019 through 2024. So it's 3 stints as the defensive coordinator in San Francisco, 3 as the New York Jets head coach. So starting in 2019, number 2 total defense, number 5 total defense, number 3 total defense, number 4 total defense, number 3 total defense, number 3 total defense. This dude's going to have a good defense. Like, he's going to be able to turn their defense around, which has obviously been an issue. And you got one of the best defensive players in the league in Big Jeff Simmons there already. So I can get excited about it. You obviously got to find a good offensive coordinator for Cam Ward that's going to be someone that's going to help him develop and continue. There's rumors out there that it could be Mike McDaniel because those guys are friends and have coached together before. which I'm totally down for. That'd be fun.
I like Mike McDaniel.
That could be fun, man. Robert Saleh and Mike McDaniel coaching the Titans. I like that.
Two younger-ish, good-looking dudes. I'm for it.
That have both had success. Like I'm in.
All right, Bennett, I'll be in too. What do I care? Bring me Robert Saleh and Mike McDaniel. Fine with me.
Yeah, I think this is a great hire. Also, him and Liam Cohen, who coaches the Jaguars, don't like each other, which is fun. I love that. In the way that this division is playing out, like the Texans have one of the elite defenses in the league. The Jaguars have a really underrated defense. So, the Titans got to get up to their level. So I think this is a really good hire.
All right, you sound excited. You look excited, so I'm happy for you. Robert Saleh is going to be Bennett's football team's next coach. Congratulations.
Number 4.
Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame Kansas basketball coach Bill Self was hospitalized yesterday in Lawrence for what is being reported as precautionary reasons, but this is the third time in the past few years that he has had to be hospitalized, and the previous 2 times they were heart-related issues. He's had, I believe, 4 stents put in 2 different procedures. And when I had talked to him, I don't know, back in October, November, in person at Big 12 Media Day, we sat down, and you can find that interview on YouTube if you're, super bored. And I think among the first things I asked him was like, how you feeling? You look good. Because he had dropped some weight. And he had told me, like, I feel better than I felt in years. Like, just like all of us, every day you're alive, you're older than you've ever been. But his point was, I think he's 63 now. At the age of 63, he feels better than he felt at the age of 60. Because he had, these heart undetected issues going on, and they can just bog you down. If you ever talk to anybody who's had heart issues and then they get the stent put in or the whatever cleaned up. I'm not a heart surgeon, but you know what they do.
Yep.
And they would tell you they just feel like a different person. Like they didn't even know that they felt bad. They just thought this is the way you feel. This is just normally the way you feel. And I just thought that's the way I felt. But no, it was awful. And now I've got this cleaned up, and now I feel like 10 times better. I feel like I'm brand new. That was sort of what I was hearing from Bill, and I was like, well, that's great. And I even told him, like, the best thing that can happen for you clearly is to never have heart issues. That's the best thing. But the next best thing is to have a heart issue. I probably shouldn't even be saying stuff like this. This could be totally wrong. I'm not a doctor, but it feels like this is.
Yeah.
It feels true.
I get your drift.
If you're going to have a heart issue, it's good to catch it because you feel tired, so you go to the hospital, or you feel off balance, so you go to the hospital, and they go, oh, buddy, you got some problems here, but hey, thank God we found you here as opposed to, on the floor of your bedroom, right? Mm-hmm. So the sentiment I had sort of left Bill with was like, I know you don't like going back in the hospital in July to get, more stents put in, but buddy, every time they catch it in a checkup as opposed to call 911, that's a great day, and maybe all of this stuff is behind you. And now here we are. And so hopefully it's not too big of a deal, but it's clearly something. I mean, the report is, just wasn't feeling so well. But like when you and I don't feel so well, we lay down for a minute. We don't go to the hospital. Mm-hmm. So it's got to be more than doesn't feel so well. I don't want to speculate, but what I have heard from other people who have had heart issues before, there are times, it's a little bit like, you remember when I had a kidney stone, and buddy, I wanted to die. I'm not going to tell the whole story because Bennett, I know you've heard it at least 8 times, but I had a kidney stone, and I started feeling that pain about 4 in the morning, but didn't go to the hospital till about 8 in the morning because I didn't know what I was dealing with. I kept going, well, if I take a shower, maybe I'll feel better. Or if when I stand up, I feel better. But when I sit back down, I feel like I'm dying. I didn't know what I was dealing with. So I kept hoping, well, maybe if I just, maybe I'll feel better in a minute. And then it got unbearable, and I was like, I got to go to the hospital. I'm dying. And as soon as I walked in, they just took a look at me, and they were like, you have kidney stones. They could just see it on me.
Mm-hmm. They know it, yeah.
Yeah, my point is this. After you have had heart issues, what I've been told by other people is that those feelings that you had, you remember what that was. And if you ever start feeling that way again, it is sometimes smart. Like, hey, last time I felt this way, I ended up in the hospital. so let's just go to the hospital now. Let's beat him to the punch. Last time I felt this way, it didn't get better. I started getting worse. So let's get to the hospital now, get fluids in me now, get checked out now. And if that's what this was, then hopefully that's all this is. Either way, Kansas playing tonight at Colorado. Weird. Oh, buddy, I just realized I'm going to be up till 5 in the morning. 11:10 p.m. Eastern tip. I mean, the game won't be over till 1:30 here in New York. And even in Colorado, it's a 9 o'clock tip.
I was going to say, that's a little outrageous. Yeah.
Even in Boulder, the fans who fill up that arena tonight to watch Darren Peterson will not get back into their homes until midnight because it's going to tip at 9:10. The game's going to run 2:15. So now you're not getting back home till midnight. I mean, that's crazy. It's Tuesday.
That's rough, man.
It's rough, but I guess ESPN needed an 11 o'clock tip on the East Coast, so they're going to make it Darren Peterson and the Kansas Jayhawks. That's at Colorado tonight. Bill Self did not travel with the team. I'm hesitant to say he will not coach because he could get on a private plane like, this afternoon if he's feeling better and be there. But he did not travel with the team, was hospitalized yesterday. That's all we know right now.
Number 5.
All right, Bennett, you sent me this story.
Oh, yeah, man.
The Beckhams are going through it. David and Victoria, David, he was a footballer, and Victoria, she was a pop star, and they had some children, and one of those children is a fella named Brooklyn Beckham, and Brooklyn Beckham is married, and I guess I've known for a while that there's something not great going on between David Beckham and Brooklyn Beckham and Victoria Beckham and Brooklyn Beckham, but I ain't never really dove into it too much. But then, as you pointed out, Brooklyn Beckham jumped on social media yesterday afternoon, and buddy wrote a book. I mean, I get paid to write it. I don't even get that many words down some days. He wrote a book detailing why he and his parents, very famous parents, no longer have a relationship. And so, Bennett, you want to give us some of the highlights? What's Brooklyn Beckham so mad about?
Well, I mean, he summarizes it with the first sentence of the long post that he made, and he said that my family values public promotion and endorsements above all else. Brand Beckham comes first. And there's some pretty...
Okay, so let me stop you here.
Yeah.
Okay, whether that's true or not, here's my question for you. Should Brand Beckham come first? It's a big brand. Maybe I don't think it's crazy to point out to everybody in the family, hey, this Beckham brand is a brand, and maybe it should come first sometimes. I don't think that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I don't think it's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I mean, clearly, I can even decipher kind of what's going on just by reading what he says that the narrative that my wife controls me is completely backwards. So clearly, his parents think his wife is controlling and are taking their little boy away from them. And so there's this rift between the family, but he's obviously chosen his side because he said some wild stuff, man. I mean, he said that the one that's that's making the rounds is the first dance at his wedding that he was supposed to do with his wife. His mom hijacked it and was dancing inappropriately with him and humiliated him on his wedding day. I was like, damn, man, that's a mean thing to say about your mom. I don't know. That she humiliated you on your wedding day.
Yeah, he said it was the most humiliated he's ever been in his entire life. And I guess to that I would just say, I'm not the feelings regulator. I don't like it when people try to tell me how to feel or what should bother me and what shouldn't bother me. So I'd be hesitant to do that to another man. But I think I'd come down on the side of, if you're in your 20s, and I believe that he is, and you're
26.
married. Yeah, so if you're 26 years old and the most humiliated you've ever been involves a Spice Girl dancing on you, buddy, your life ain't that bad.
Right.
Yeah. Most of us had dreams about Spice Girls dancing with us, and you got to do it for free. And I know she's your mom, but I promise you, she didn't think she was humiliating you. I bet she thought in that moment, I know how moms tend to be. I bet she thought in that moment she was just happy and having the best time and, oh man, what a dream come true. Look at my baby boy. I bet you she wasn't trying to humiliate you. I bet you she was just being mom.
Yeah, I think the biggest allegation, I completely agree. The biggest allegation is that they were allegedly trying to get him to sign away the rights to his name before he got married to this woman. And so Yeah, I think this does seem a little bit like the parents don't trust the wife, and so there's no reconciliation there. He's picking the wife's side, and they say Victoria Beckham was on the floor because of these allegations. She is broken by them.
I mean, I get that. Like, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you have and how much fame you have. If you've got family problems, you've got family problems, and they cut the same way. Like, there's a ton of rich and famous people out there who have complicated family relationships, and I bet you their lives often look glamorous, and you go, man, I'd give anything to be Brad Pitt, and I guess most of us would. But I do think it is notable that reportedly Brad Pitt has no relationship with any of his children, like none, zero. Like I don't know how you go to sleep at night having no relationship with your children and feeling great about things. Like, you know, maybe there's an explanation for everything and you compartmentalize, and perhaps I'm projecting right now, but like if I had no relationship with my children, I wouldn't care how nice my hotel room is, how much I'm on TV. I would feel like I've lost something. I would feel like I've lost something important. Like, congratulations on all your first-class flights and trips to New York. But if I had no relationship with my children, I would feel like I'm missing something. I'm not up here pretending I'm dad of the year or even dad of the day, but like I would struggle if I had no relationship with my children. And like, when I look at Brad Pitt, that's what I see. I don't see the great-looking movie star anymore. I go, I bet you that guy's sad sometimes, right? And so it appears the Beckhams are going through this in their own little way. And I obviously can't pretend to know who's at fault and who's not. As always, I bet you, as usual, there's some fault to go around everywhere, right? But I don't know. I read that thing, and I don't know what you expect, how you think things are going to come across when you sit down on a computer and start typing all these family things for the public to consume. Like, I don't know how you think that's going to be received, but I don't ever think it plays well. This is stuff I shouldn't know about. I see it on a lesser level. We talk about this sometimes on Facebook with friends of mine or just acquaintances. It's like, yeah, I shouldn't know that about you, and you're the one telling me that. Like, you know, I don't know many marriages that are family situations that are perfect every day. I think it's probably best to keep some of that stuff behind closed doors, but this one has now gotten very public, and I bet you there will be a day in his life, whether he knows it or not, and at 26, you don't know. There will be a day in his life where he regrets hitting send on that.
I completely agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, there was some. It's weird that this story came up today because there was some kind of connection with these. But she's obviously Victoria Beckham, obviously famously known as Posh Spice, one of the founding members of the Spice Girl. Well,
did you have a favorite Spice Girl?
Yeah,
was she your
Ginger Spice.
Victoria was my favorite Spice Girl.
Did you like Victoria? Yeah,
I still do. I mean, what are you talking about?
I was a teenage boy, so like Ginger, like, you know, she's.
I understand. I see what you're saying. I understand what you're doing.
You understand. It was something. I want to say that the Spice Girls got brought up, like some connection to the Grizzlies game in London. Obviously, they're a London group. It probably had something to do with like how fast the tickets sold to that game or something like that. Because I heard the Spice Girls getting brought up in connection to the Grizzlies London game this week somehow. So that's why I was on my brain. But they were a phenomenon, man.
I do think you've got it probably pegged about right. The dynamic here that's causing problems is there's something between the parents and the wife.
Yes, clearly.
There's clearly something.
Yeah, because there's something about how she was supposed to design her dress because Posh is like a fashion icon, and she like didn't do it at the very last minute and messed up their plans. Yeah, there's some bitterness.
There's something between the parents and the wife that has gotten sideways, and like now once it gets that toxic in any sort of relationship, then everybody just starts to see things, whether real or imagined. So like now you're all, this woman was supposed to make my wedding dress and she didn't, and it's because she hates me. Perhaps that's true. It also could be because who knows what happened and something just came up and it didn't get done, whatever. And then it's like, she's out there dancing with my husband because she's trying to show me up. Reality, perhaps, Victoria Beckham had one drink too many and was just happy and excited that her son's big wedding day was here, and she got carried away, and she didn't mean nothing by it, but you interpreted it that she meant everything by it, and now we're in a fight. Like, this is how this stuff happens.
For sure.
The draft a few years ago, NBA draft that had Cal Filipowski in it, remember he slipped out of the first, he was projected to go in the first round by everybody. And he slips out of the first round.
Oh, and there's the stories about the estrangement from his family. Yeah.
Yes, it's the same thing. His partner, the family doesn't agree with the relationship. It was a weird deal where, like, she was a family friend, if I remember correctly, and, like, she knew Cal Filipowski when he was, like, 11, and she was, like, much older, and, like, it was weird. It's a weird thing. It'd be like if it'd be like, I don't even know. It'd be like if there's this guy who lives in a house, and next door there, and the guy's like 19, and there's a little 9-year-old girl that lives next door, and then fast forward 10 years, he's 29, and now that little girl that he watched grow up is now 19, and they're dating, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of gross. You knew her when she was a baby. What are you doing? It's one of those types of things a little bit. It might be off on the numbers, but you get the point. And the family was just like, this is wrong. Like, predatory perhaps, but wrong. And like, Cal Filipowski was estranged, I think maybe still is, estranged from his family. Like, he felt like he got to a point where he had to pick. I can't have you both in my life. I got to pick the woman or my parents and my brother and my sister and my family. And he picked the girl, and had no, when this was a big story at that time, had no relationship with his mom and dad and siblings. And that is the explanation for why he slipped into the second round. NBA franchises were digging on this, and it was just like, ugh, this is kind of weird and not normal, and I don't know if we want to get involved in this. Let's let somebody else have that. And then, of course, he gets drafted by Utah, so everybody made their jokes. But, yeah, sometimes it can be a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or wife that causes problems between mom and dad and a child. Fortunately, we haven't had that problem. Let the record show. Our oldest son has a girlfriend, and we love her to pieces. She causes no problems. We want her to control him. Like, please, like, if the complaint is that the Beckhams think Brooklyn Beckham's wife is controlling him, just know the Parrishes would have no problem with that. Control him all you want to. You seem great. You guys seem great together. Buddy, just keep going. So I haven't experienced this problem yet. I hope that I never experience this problem, because yeah, that's a sad thing to read. I imagine when you're in the hospital bringing a little baby home from, the delivery room, you never think that 26 years later he's just going to tell all your family secrets on Instagram or something, right?
Right. Very true. Very true.
But I guess we're all susceptible to that. Hopefully they get better.
Hope so too.
I mean that sincerely. That's a sad story. I hope they figure it out. But he will regret that post someday. He's too young to understand it now. One day he'll be old enough to get that. And there's always a chance at reconciliation. I hope the Beckhams find it before it's too late. I hope that for everybody. Be back with Carryout.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live. Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com.
That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Grizz Nation, Friday nights just got a whole lot better. Introducing Buckets and Brews, the ultimate way to tip off your weekend. Every Friday this season, grab a terrace-level ticket to the Grizz game and 2 12-ounce Miller Lights for just $55. Get great seats, cold brews, and Grizzlies basketball. It's everything you need to start your weekend off right. So get the deal that's too cold to hold. Go to grizzlies.com/Friday to lock in your tickets today.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Nate Bargatze.
Look, I say a lot of dumb stuff. I try to keep it in front of large groups. Seems to go better that way.
Big Dumb Eyes World Tour.
When you say something dumb one-on-one, it's a lot for that person. I'll say it, then I can just feel that they feel the weight of my life on their shoulders.
Tickets and info at NateBargatze.com. Don't miss the Big Dumb Eyes World Tour. Nate Bargatze.
Special deal. All the fans of this show, it's ready for you. We got a special discount code for up to 30% off select Grizzlies tickets just by using the promo code GCMFAN. GCMFAN. That's the promo code. So head over to grizzgroups.com/GCM and lock in your discounted seats. Again, that's GCMFAN at grizzgroups.com/GCM. That's grizzgroups.com/GCM. Don't miss out. Let's do carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we miss today?
Big golf headline breaking this morning at golfchannel.com. Michael Lasasso, who is the reigning NCAA individual champion and a senior at Ole Miss, is joining Phil Mickelson's High Flyers GC on a multi-year agreement, and is expected to debut at next month's Live Opener in Saudi Arabia. He is forfeiting his remaining NCAA eligibility. He is forfeiting his exemption into the 2026 Masters. And he is headed to Live Golf, presumably for a lot of money. But this is kind of surprising because with the Brooks Koepka news story last week where he is rejoining the PGA Tour, it looked like that could be the end of Live Golf. But then Cam Smith, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, all in their own words said, we are contractually obligated to live. We're going to play Live Golf in 2026. Cam Smith took it a step farther, said, this is where I'm going to be playing golf, for the foreseeable future. And now Liv makes a big statement by going out and getting the reigning NCAA, champion who otherwise would have been headed to the PGA Tour. So I'm certain it makes financial sense. I mean, this young man's got more money now, I'm guaranteed, than he will ever need. But nobody likes it over there. It's miserable, and you just disappear. That's why Brooks Koepka was willing to leave a lot of money on the table to come back to the PGA Tour. So I really thought we were done with seeing people jump over there. You might stay there if you're already there, but if you've got, realistic dreams of being a star on the PGA Tour, you don't mess with Live anymore. Everybody went, got their money. Now they want to come back. Brooks Koepka is back. I thought we were done with this, but apparently not. The reigning NCAA champion, he's going to be playing on the Live Tour this year alongside Phil Mickelson.
What's today's biggest game?
Oh, how about I take you over to Fayetteville, Arkansas. 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN. Number 15 Vanderbilt at number 20 Arkansas inside Bud Walton Arena. Arkansas is a 1.5-point favorite. The total is 173.5. Big Bet Bennett, how you going to act?
Man, this one's tough because, I think it's a good spot for Arkansas, but is Vanderbilt, who is, one of the surprises this season, really going to lose 3 in a row at this point? I think I'll go with the Hogs, but I don't feel great about it.
All right. Bennett says take Arkansas minus the 1.5. Vandy will go from being the undefeated projected SEC champs to a team on a 3-game losing streak. That's the prediction from Big Bet Bennett tonight. Again, tip-off, 8 o'clock. You can watch it on ESPN.
What are we watching on TV?
Can I interest you in The Rip?
The Rip. I'm unfamiliar, I believe.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah, this is their new Netflix movie.
They made a Netflix movie, and I haven't seen it yet, but it's streaming in the top 10 right now. But I have seen the movie's an hour 55. I don't know that I've watched an hour 55, but they did a podcast the other day where the clips just they're just all over Instagram and Twitter. And it's one of those things where I'm not looking for Ben Affleck and Matt Damon for clips of them talking about the film industry and movie making in the year 2026, but they just sort of find me. And then I've just consumed a lot of Matt Damon, Ben Affleck over the past week. And I tell you, Ben Affleck's got a reputation for being a lot of different things. But, when he just sits down and talks.
Oh, he's a great talker.
He's a great talker.
Yep.
He's talking about the film industry. I have no idea whether he's right or wrong about this stuff, but he sounds smart about it. He sounds like, I was a 6-minute video of Ben Affleck talking about the film industry. I was like, I don't really know. All right, I guess here goes. And I was like, God, this guy's really sharp. I don't know. I was just impressed by him.
And he's seen it change so much over the years. He's really good. There's there's a clip that makes the round sometime. He was on with Theo Vaughn, I guess it was a couple years ago now at this point. But he's asking him about being rich and famous and what's it been like, your whole career, and you've been rich and famous for a long time now. And he was like, if I could give anyone advice, for people who say, I want to be rich and famous, he was like, take rich. Don't take famous. He was like, you want to be rich. You don't want to be famous, because then you don't have a life anymore. And I was like, that's kind of interesting, because being rich and famous sounds awesome. But the way he describes it, he's kind of sad. I mean, we've seen him be sad.
Being rich and famous sounds awesome. Most rich and famous people tell you it ain't as great as you think.
Yeah.
Because, the money's great, but the fame part, imagine what it would be like if you're Ben Affleck and every day you step out of your door in basically any place in this world, people will immediately be going, is that him? That's him. Oh, him. He's right there. Hey, can I get a selfie? Hey, can I get a selfie? Hey, Ben. That's your life for the rest of your life, every day, no matter where you're at. That's not a fun way to live.
And
having to be pointed at every time you walk into any room, it cannot be fun. I bet you at first it's intoxicating. Man, look, every time I walk in a room, people are excited to see me. But after a while, I bet you it's man, I just wanted to get a cup of coffee. I didn't want to say hey to 11 strangers and take 4 selfies. I just wanted to get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, for sure. And he elaborated a little bit. He talked about why he got into directing, because he was like the dream is to be rich and have something that fulfills you, right? That's the ultimate dream. And so he talked about his love for directing and stuff. But this movie specifically, do you have a Rotten Tomatoes score or anything?
Let's get it. Okay. You keep talking, I'll look up
before
Rotten
you
Tomatoes.
tell me what it is, what I'm going to tell you is, because I have not seen a lot of buzz or promotion necessarily from this movie, and it feels to me like this was hey, we got a chance to do a pretty big budget action movie with Netflix. They got a lot of money and we're best friends and we get a chance to work together and make a lot of money together. Why don't we go do that regardless of what the script looks like?
It's 81% approval from critics.
Okay, that's surprising.
67% approval from audience, verified audience members.
Okay, so that suggests that this is a good movie that has real substance to it.
It's an hour 52. Yeah, I'm gonna download it.
Because if the audience has to think, they're gonna lower that score down a little bit.
I know. Oh, so they were talking about that a little bit, like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I thought this was interesting. I think it was Matt Damon said this part. He was like, typically like in an action movie, there's going to be 3 big, action scenes.
Yep.
Like one in
the beginning, the middle, the end. Yeah.
And you build towards the last one, and that's the biggest one. That's the one where you spend all your money. And he said, now when you're doing a movie for Netflix, they might want that inverted because they know that people aren't in a theater. If you're in a theater, you're not getting up and leaving in 8 minutes. You're here to watch a film. You're just going to watch it. So we can save the biggest explosion for last because you're going to be here for it. Most people don't go to movies and leave in the middle of them. Have you ever done that, by the way? Have you ever left a movie in the middle of a movie?
No, never.
I don't think I have either.
Nah, man.
I don't think
I'm seeing this thing out.
I've fallen asleep in movies.
I already paid money for it. Like, I'm seeing it out no matter how bad it is.
Have you ever slept through an entire movie in the theater?
No.
I've done that. I'm like, hey, let's go. You know what it is? It's always, hey, why don't we do dinner and then we'll go to a movie afterwards? And then it's like, dinner, you have a couple, and then you're like, hey, we're at the theater, and they, let's get a glass of red wine. And next thing you know, it's like, all right, it's sleepy time for me. And I wake up when the credits are rolling, and I'm like, oh, I hope you enjoyed the movie. I've slept through like an hour of a movie before.
I mean, I've definitely been in the theaters when someone next to me is dead asleep. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So here's what Matt Damon said. It's like in a theater, they know you're there. You're not getting up and leaving. You're there at the beginning. You're gonna be there at the end. So they can put the big action sequence at the end. That's the payoff because you're gonna be there. What Netflix might suggest is, hey, what if we took the biggest action scene and made it in the first 5 minutes? Because at home, people really will start a movie. And if it doesn't grab them, they'll be just like, I'm bored. Or they'll pick up the phone. And next thing, you've just lost them. And they're not watching anymore, or they changed it, or they're out. So, like, if you're going to have 3 big action sequences, if you're going to a theater, if you're going to a cinema, you build biggest to last. If you're for Netflix, you might do the biggest first because you need to grab people and hold them there because they're distracted. He said also, just the approach in writing dialogue and writing the script is different if you're writing a Netflix movie or a movie for the theater. He said, what we understand is that when people are watching Netflix movies, they are often distracted. They're on their phones. They're with other, there's kids running around.
Right.
They're getting up and going. Somebody needs a bowl of cereal. People are often distracted watching Netflix. So they will put dialogue in the script to reiterate the plot. In other words, in a movie for a theater, he was like, this character might say this thing one time, and that hammers home the point. That's all you need. But in a Netflix movie, that character might say a version of that same thing 3 or 4 different times to make sure the viewer at home catches it, because we know you're distracted. We know you might not be. You dumb down the movie a little bit.
For sure. This came out today, you're saying?
It came out like recently. I saw it pop into my Netflix thing yesterday.
I'm gonna watch this tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch this tonight. I'm intrigued. I'm very surprised by that score that you sent me. I was expecting high audience score, low critic score.
Right now, the critics are in on this. And
I know that like the Chris Vernon show doesn't value the critics. They make fun of the critics openly on their show. I value the critics' opinions.
I do too. I value the critics' opinions too.
Yeah.
You and I are on the same page here.
Let's
We value critics. I don't know that I'm going to have time to watch The Rip. I'm still trying to knock out the last 2 episodes of Landman Season 2.
Okay. By the way, speaking of stuff, I watched the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the new Game of Thrones series.
Oh, I meant to ask you about that.
Dude, it was it's like, honestly, it's refreshing because it's the episodes are shorter. So these episodes are like 37 to 40 minutes.
I like that.
Yeah, I think there's 8 episodes. And it's more of a like, it's more of a like, I'm not going to say happy-go-lucky. It's just, it's lighter. It's lighter. Like there's not as much pain.
Incest.
Correct. There's not as much like pain,
incest,
agony, aggression, incest, all that stuff as there was in the 2 Game of Thrones series, Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. This one's a little more lighthearted, which I kind of enjoyed the change up.
All right. I've got that. I've got that on my list of things. I've got a list of things, Bennett. Let me tell you what I've got. Here's my plan. All right. I got to knock out these final 2 episodes of Landman. I love Billy Bob Thornton. And did you see Billy Bob Thornton on CBS?
I did.
You see this?
He gave a shout out to Lansky's. That was awesome, man. Yeah.
They asked about his style, and he was like, "There's this place in Memphis called Lansky's, and they used to dress Elvis and Jerry Lee." I love that he said Jerry Lee, just like Jerry Lee, not Jerry Lee Lewis.
Buddy, yeah.
Like, yeah, they used to dress Elvis and Jerry Lee. And I meant to take that clip and show it to my boys, my little guys, because my middle dude's, one of his best friends, moved off of Malone Road. There's like a new subdivision off of Malone Road. It's like literally across the street from the Lewis Ranch, from Jerry Lee Lewis's home.
Oh,
and,
gotcha.
Yeah, that's like a famous place in DeSoto County. Like, everybody knew. Like, when I delivered pizzas at Pizza Hut, about the coolest thing that could happen when that printer went off, and, the way it would work is somebody, you'd call. It's crazy to think about. People used to call and order a pizza. So you would call some, call center. This is the way it would work.
Yeah.
You'd call the Pizza Hut number, and it would go to some call center in Memphis. And and they would get your address, and then they would basically send a fax to whatever store would handle this delivery. So if it was in Germantown, they'd send it to the Germantown store. If it happened to be in DeSoto County, they'd send it to the store that was in Horn Lake. And so the printer would go off and it'd say, "You got a delivery." And when that Lewis Ranch came up on Malone Road, it was like, who gets to deliver to Jerry Lee Lewis?
It's pretty cool.
Man, we delivered, and I never saw Jerry Lee, not one time. I mean, I did see Jerry Lee. I saw Jerry Lee perform and met Jerry Lee and all that, but never saw him while delivering a pizza to his home. But that was always like, man, we're going to Jerry Lee's, because you really would go up there and it'd be like a $47 order, and they just give you a $100 bill. You walk out there with like a $50 tip.
Pretty cool.
Right? So we drive past there all the time now, because one of my Oliver's best friends lives in that neighborhood, and my boys have no great understanding of who Jerry Lee Lewis was, other than we've shown them clips and listened to the music and that kind of stuff. But I think that would be cool, because they do watch Landman, and so they know Billy Bob Thornton. And to hear Billy Bob Thornton just randomly out of nowhere shout out Jerry Lee, that would be cool for the kid. Be like, "Hey, that's the house I keep telling you guys about,
man.
Over there next to Amos's. That's Jerry Lee's house, and that's Tommy from Landman talking about Jerry Lee."
That's
See
pretty
how we're
cool.
bringing us all together? Yeah. So I got to knock out the last 2 episodes of Landman. I love Landman. Billy Bob Thornton is incredible in that
I need to get
series.
in that. Yeah.
It's good. It's just good.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just funny, and it's good, and it's interesting. Billy Bob Thornton's great. Allie Larder is great in it. Demi Moore's in it. I mean, it's got some big names. Michelle Randolph, the young woman who's now dating Glenn Powell, she's in it. So the cast is terrific. Sam Elliott is in it.
Love him.
I mean, who doesn't love Sam Elliott? So it's great. I got to knock out the last 2 episodes of that. I want to get up to date on The Pit, so that I can watch the new Pit episodes every Thursday like everybody else is doing. I want to be involved in that. I think it'd be nice. I need things to look forward to.
I need to get involved in that too.
So it'd be nice. I think the episodes come out every Thursday now, season 2, The Pit. So it'd be nice. Like, man, these days are long, but on Thursday when I wrap up the Gary Parrish show, I'm going to get on a flight and I'm going to get to watch a new episode of The Pit, just like everybody else is doing. I need something like that in my life. So I want to get caught up on The Pit, and then I want to do this new Game of Thrones thing you're talking about as well. That's what's on my list right now, Bennett. That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Good.
So I got to get going. First up is Landman, but if you want to watch The Rip, it is streaming on Netflix right now.
What's the best thing we've read?
Well, over at CBSSports.com, our friend Brandon Marcello has done a way too early top 25 for next season's college football. You want to guess who's preseason number 1 according to Brandon Marcello, CBSSports.com?
Michigan.
Michigan is not number 1. Michigan comes in at number 9 under first-year coach Cal Whittingham. But if you look somewhere else in the Big Ten, you might find your preseason number 1.
Ohio State.
The Ohio State Buckeyes are the preseason number 1, according to Brandon Marcello, followed by number 2, Texas, number 3, Georgia, number 4, Oregon, number 5, Notre Dame, number 6, Texas A&M, 7 Texas Tech, 8 Indiana, 9 Michigan, 10 Oklahoma. If you're wondering, Lane Kiffin and LSU are at number 14, which means in year 1 at LSU, he is not expected to have a team as good as the team he abandoned in his final year at Ole Miss. If you care, Alabama is at 15. Ole Miss, your Rebels, Pete Golding, they come in at number 20. You can find that right now. Brandon Marcello's preseason top 25. It's on the homepage, cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow's Wednesday. That means Chris Vernon going to join me in the opening hour. He'll help us get ready for Grizzlies Hawks tomorrow night inside FedEx Forum. We should get a status report a little after 5 o'clock Central today. We'll examine that in the morning. We'll examine that status report in the morning.
Got my notifications ready.
I think we all do. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to try to enjoy mine. And we're going to meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.